Commander Jake Morrison was drinking his morning coffee when the alarm started screaming. He dropped his cup and ran to the control room of Luna Station. The coffee spilled across the floor, but Jake did not care. Something big was happening. "What is it, Danny?" Jake asked his communications officer. Danny Rodriguez looked up from his screens. His face was white with shock. "Sir, we are getting a signal from deep space. It is not from Earth. It is not from any human ship." Jake felt his heart beat faster. In all his years as a space commander, he had never heard those words. No one had ever found aliens before. No one had ever talked to them. "Are you sure?" Jake asked. "Yes, sir. The signal is coming from outside our solar system. Way outside. And, sir, it sounds like they are in trouble." Jake grabbed the microphone. "This is Luna Station calling all Earth defense ships. We have a situation. Get me Admiral Rodriguez on the line right now." While they waited, Dr. Lisa Chong ran into the room. She was the station's language expert. Her job was to study how people talked and wrote in different ways. But she had never studied alien languages before. "Jake, let me hear it," Lisa said. She was breathing hard from running. Danny played the signal. Strange sounds filled the room. It was not like any human language. It sounded like music mixed with static. Sometimes it was high like a whistle. Sometimes it was low like thunder. But under all the strange sounds, Jake could hear something else. Fear. "They sound scared," Jake said quietly. Lisa nodded. She was already working on her computer. "I am running this through every language program we have. Maybe I can find some patterns." The signal kept playing. Over and over, the same message repeated. Jake did not understand the words, but he understood the feeling. These beings, whoever they were, needed help badly. Admiral Betty Rodriguez appeared on the main screen. She was calling from Earth Defense Command. Her gray hair was messy, like she had just woken up. "Jake, what is going on up there?" she asked. "Admiral, we are receiving what appears to be a distress call from an alien civilization," Jake said. The words felt strange in his mouth. Betty was quiet for a long moment. "Aliens," she said slowly. "Are you completely sure?" "Yes, ma'am. Dr. Chong is working on translating the message now." "I am getting something," Lisa called out. She was typing fast on her keyboard. "The computer is finding some basic patterns." "Give me a few more minutes." Jake watched Lisa work. She was one of the smartest people he knew. If anyone could figure out what the aliens were saying, it was her. The hours passed slowly. More people came to the control room. Scientists, military officers, even some politicians called from Earth. Everyone wanted to know about the aliens. Finally, Lisa stood up. Her face was tired but excited. "I have got it," she said. "It is not perfect, but I can understand most of what they are saying." "What do they want?" Jake asked. Lisa looked at her notes. "They are asking for help. They say their name is the Galactic Confederation. They are a group of many different alien races. And Jake, they are dying." "Dying how?" "Something called the Harvesters is destroying their worlds. The aliens say these Harvesters are like machines. They eat entire planets and turn them into more machines. The aliens cannot stop them." Jake felt cold. "How many aliens are we talking about?" "Billions," Lisa said quietly. "Maybe trillions. Entire civilizations are being destroyed." Admiral Rodriguez leaned forward on the screen. "Why are they calling us? How do they even know we exist?" Lisa looked at her notes again. "They found us recently. They have been watching our radio signals and TV broadcasts. But Jake, here is the strange part. They almost did not call us at all." "Why not?" "Because they think we are too violent. They call us Deathworlders. They say Earth is so dangerous that it created a species that loves fighting and killing. They were afraid of us. Jake felt confused, but they called us anyway. Because they are desperate, Lisa said. Their peaceful species cannot fight the harvesters. They have no weapons. They have no armies. They do not even understand war. But the harvesters are winning, and soon there will be nothing left. The room was quiet. Jake thought about what this meant. Somewhere out in space, entire worlds full of innocent beings were being destroyed, and they were asking humans for help because humans knew how to fight. There is more, Lisa said. They want to send a representative to meet with us, an ambassador. They are willing to share their technology if we will help them fight. Admiral Rodriguez spoke up. Jake, I want you to prepare Luna Station for first contact. This is the biggest thing that has ever happened to humanity. We cannot mess this up. Jake nodded. What about the military? If these harvesters are as dangerous as the aliens say, we will need to prepare for war. I am already calling all world leaders, Betty said. Every nation on Earth will need to work together on this. We are not just fighting for ourselves anymore. We are fighting for the entire galaxy. Over the next few days, Luna Station became the busiest place in human space. Ships arrived from Earth carrying scientists, diplomats, and military experts. Everyone wanted to be part of first contact with aliens. Jake watched it all happen. He thought about the alien message and how scared they sounded. These peaceful beings had lived for thousands of years without war. Now they were asking the violent humans to save them. It felt wrong somehow. Humans were supposed to be the bad guys in Space Stories. They were supposed to be the ones who started fights and caused trouble. But now they were being asked to be heroes. Lisa finished building a better translation program. When the aliens called again, humans would be able to talk back. The galaxy was about to change forever, and it would all start with a simple conversation between species who had never met before. Jake looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, the harvesters were destroying worlds. Somewhere else, aliens were praying that the violent Deathworlders from Earth would save them. He had no idea if humans could win such a war, but he knew they had to try. Captain Sam Powell had never seen anything like the alien ship that appeared near Luna Station. It looked like a giant crystal flower floating in space. Beautiful colors moved across its surface, like rainbow oil on water. No human could have built something so pretty. Sam commanded the UE's Defender, Earth's newest and strongest warship. But compared to the alien vessel, his ship looked like a metal box with engines. Still, the aliens had asked for human help, so pretty ships were not what mattered most. Captain, the alien ambassador is ready to come aboard, said his communications officer, Lisa Warren. Bring them over, Sam said. He straightened his uniform and tried to look professional. This was the first time a human would meet an alien face to face. The airlock opened with a soft hiss. What came through was not what Sam expected. The alien looked like a person made of living glass. Light moved through its body in slow waves. It had 4 arms and stood nearly 8 feet tall. When it moved, it made tiny musical sounds like wind chimes. I am Veltar, the alien said through a small device on its chest. The voice sounded like water flowing over rocks. I speak for the Galactic Confederation. Thank you for agreeing to help us. Sam reached out his hand, then stopped. He did not know if aliens shook hands. I am Captain Sam Powell. Welcome to our ship. Veltar touched Sam's hand with one of its crystal fingers. The touch was warm and made Sam feel calm. Your species confuses us, Captain Powell. You are capable of great violence, yet you chose to help strangers. We do not understand this. Maybe you will understand better after you meet more humans, Sam said. Are you ready to show us these harvesters? Yes, but I must warn you. What? You will see has destroyed the hope of many species. The harvesters are not just machines. They are something much worse. The alien ship led the Defender toward the edge of human space. As they traveled, Veltar told Sam about the galaxy. There were hundreds of intelligent species out there. Most had evolved on gentle worlds with no dangerous animals or harsh weather. They had never learned to fight because they had never needed to. My people, the Velquan, come from a world covered in soft grass and warm lakes, Veltar explained. The most dangerous animal on our planet is smaller than your hand and eats only flowers. We thought all worlds were like this until we found Earth. Dr. Ryan Brooks, the ship's medical officer, was fascinated. How did you survive and evolve? Without any dangers? We evolved to be peaceful and to work together. When we found other species, they were the same. We built the Confederation to share knowledge and help each other. For 10,000 years, we lived in harmony. Sam thought about Earth's history. Humans had spent most of their time fighting each other or trying not to be eaten by wild animals. Even now, Earth was full of dangerous creatures that could kill people. Sharks, bears, poisonous snakes, deadly diseases. Humans had learned to survive by being tough and smart, and sometimes mean. Then the harvesters came, Veltar continued. Its light grew dimmer, like it was sad. They appeared at the edge of our space 50 years ago. At first, we thought they were just another species that wanted to join the Confederation. We sent ambassadors to welcome them. What happened? Asked Carlos Martinez, the ship's engineer. They consumed our ambassadors' ships, turned them into more harvesters. We did not understand. We tried to communicate, to find out what they wanted. They never answered. They just kept eating our worlds. The Defender sensors started picking up strange readings ahead. Sam looked at the screens and felt his stomach drop. Where there should have been a star system, there was only empty space and floating debris. This was the Ketheri system, Veltar said quietly. Home to 12 billion butterfly-like beings who created the most beautiful art in the galaxy. The harvesters consumed it 3 days ago. Sam stared at the wreckage. Pieces of planets floated in space like cosmic garbage. But worse than that were the shapes moving through the debris. The harvesters, they looked like giant metal spiders, each one the size of a city. Their legs were covered in tools that could cut through anything. Their bodies glowed with the energy they had stolen from the dead star. As Sam watched, the creatures were building something. More of themselves. They do not just destroy, Veltar explained. They learn. Each world they consume makes them smarter and stronger. They take our technology and improve it. They study how we fight and find ways to beat us. Lisa Warren was scanning the harvesters with the ship's sensors. Captain, I am reading thousands of them, and they are all connected somehow, like they share one big brain. That is correct, Veltar said. They think as one. When one harvester learns something, they all learn it instantly. This is why no species has been able to defeat them. Every battle just teaches them how to fight better. Dr. Brooks was studying the readings too. These things are not natural. Someone built them. Yes, but we do not know who. The harvesters are older than any species in the galaxy. We think they were created long ago by someone who wanted to destroy all organic life. Then they went to sleep for millions of years. Now, they are awake again. Sam watched the mechanical spiders tear apart the remains of planets. Each piece of rock and metal was being processed into new harvester parts. Soon there would be even more of them. How fast do they spread? Sam asked. They have consumed 47 star systems in 50 years, Veltar said. But they are getting faster as they grow stronger. We estimate that all Confederation worlds will be gone within 20 years. The crew of the Defender was quiet. Sam knew what they were thinking. How could humans fight something that had defeated entire galactic civilizations? Show me how they attack, Sam said. Veltar activated a recording device. Images appeared in the air, showing a beautiful world covered in crystal cities. Then the harvesters arrived. They did not land or send messages. They just started eating. Their tools cut through the aliens' peaceful cities like paper. The crystal people tried to run, but there was nowhere to go. The Kethari had no weapons, Veltar explained. They had no soldiers. They tried to hide, but the harvesters found them all. It took 6 hours to consume 12 billion lives. Sam felt anger growing in his chest. These were innocent people who had done nothing wrong. They were killed just because some ancient machines wanted to turn them into spare parts. What about your military? Carlos asked. Surely someone in the galaxy knows how to fight. A few species have tried, Veltar said. The Zorthan Collective had ships with energy weapons. The harvesters adapted to their attacks within minutes and destroyed them. The militant Brotherhood of Kepler tried using nuclear weapons. The harvesters absorbed the radiation and became stronger. Lisa looked up from her sensors. Captain, they have noticed us. Sam saw it too. Several of the giant mechanical spiders had turned toward the defender. They were not moving yet, but Sam could feel them watching. We should leave, Veltar said nervously. If they capture your ship, they will learn about human technology. But Sam was thinking. He watched how the harvesters moved and worked. They were efficient and logical. They did everything the same way every time. That might be a weakness. They think like machines, Sam said. They follow patterns. They do what worked before. Yes, Veltar agreed. That is why they always win. They learned the best way to fight and never change. But what if someone fought in a way that did not make sense? What if someone did things that were stupid or crazy or wasteful? Veltar's lights flickered with confusion. Why would anyone do that? Sam smiled grimly. Because humans do not always fight smart. Sometimes we fight angry. Sometimes we do things that should not work, but do anyway. These harvesters have never fought anyone like us. The harvesters were moving now, coming toward the defender. Sam ordered his ship to retreat, but he was already making plans. The galaxy thought humans were too violent to be civilized. Maybe that violence was exactly what the galaxy needed to survive. General Patricia Hayes stood in the biggest military meeting room on Earth. Around the table sat representatives from every nation on the planet. Russians, Americans, Chinese, Europeans, Africans, everyone. For the first time in human history, the whole world was working together. Ladies and gentlemen, Patricia said, we are not just fighting for Earth anymore. We are fighting for every living thing in the galaxy. The alien ambassador Veltar stood beside her, its crystal body catching the light from the room's windows. Many of the humans still stared at it in wonder. Even after weeks of contact, seeing a real alien was still amazing. The Confederation can provide you with faster-than-light travel technology, Veltar explained. We can give you energy weapons and shield systems, but we cannot teach you how to use them for war. We do not understand war. General Liu from China leaned forward. What do you mean you do not understand war? How do you settle disagreements? We talk, Veltar said simply. If two groups want the same thing, we discuss it until we find a solution. That makes everyone happy. We have done this for thousands of years. The human generals looked at each other. Colonel Mike Davis from the Marines shook his head. That is nice for dealing with reasonable people. But these harvesters are not reasonable. They just want to destroy everything. This is why we need you, Veltar said. You understand destruction in ways we cannot. Your species was shaped by a world that tried to kill you every day. You learned to fight back. Patricia pulled up images of Earth on the main screen. Pictures of tigers hunting deer, volcanoes erupting, hurricanes destroying cities, people fighting wars. Our planet taught us that survival means being willing to do terrible things when necessary. Dr. Amy Foster, Earth's leading expert on alien psychology, had been studying the Confederation species for weeks. I have been analyzing their brain scans and psychological profiles, she said. These aliens literally cannot think violent thoughts. The part of their brains that handles aggression is tiny compared to humans. What does that mean for us? Asked Admiral Morrison. It means they cannot understand tactics like ambushes, suicide attacks, or acceptable losses. When they see us planning military operations, they become physically sick. To them, we look like monsters. Valtar's lights dimmed. Dr. Foster is correct. When we first watched your military exercises, many of our people could not sleep for days. The idea of beings willing to hurt each other for strategic advantage was terrifying. Lieutenant Colonel Mike Davis stood up. He was in charge of training human soldiers to use alien technology. But they asked us here anyway. That means they are desperate enough to work with monsters. You are not monsters, Valtar said softly. You are what we need to become if we want to survive. But we do not know how. Patricia activated another screen, showing human soldiers training with alien weapons. The energy rifles looked strange in human hands, but the soldiers were learning fast. How many troops can we equip with Confederation technology? Enough for a full battle fleet, Valtar replied. 50,000 soldiers, pilots, and support. Staff. But General Hayes, I must warn you again. The harvesters learn from every encounter. If you attack them and fail, they will become much harder to defeat. Then we better not fail, Mike said grimly. Dr. Foster pulled up her research data. I think I know why humans are different from other species in the galaxy. Earth is what scientists call a death world. High gravity, extreme weather, dangerous animals, deadly diseases. Most planets that could support life are much gentler. How much gentler? Patricia asked. The average alien homeworld has gravity about half of Earth's. Their worst predators are about as dangerous as Earth rabbits. Their most extreme weather is like a mild spring day in Kansas. They evolved in paradise compared to us. Valtar nodded sadly. When the Confederation first found Earth, we were amazed that intelligent life could evolve in such a hostile environment. We thought you must all be constantly suffering. We are tougher because of it, Patricia said. Our planet made us into survivors. Captain Rachel Thompson had been testing the first human-operated alien starships. She entered the meeting room with a tablet full of data. General, I have good news and bad news about the Confederation ships. Give me the bad news first. They are designed for exploration and peaceful research. The weapons are weak, the armor is thin, and they cannot take much damage before breaking apart. And the good news? Rachel smiled. They are fast and agile. More importantly, humans can push them way past their design limits. The aliens built these ships to last forever and never break down. We can modify them to hit harder and move faster, even if it means they will not last as long. Valtar looked confused. Why would you want ships that break more easily? Because sometimes you need maximum power for a short time instead of low power for a long time, Mike explained. If we are going to die anyway, we might as well go down, fighting as hard as possible. I do not understand, Valtar said. Dr. Foster tried to explain. Humans are willing to sacrifice everything for victory. We will accept terrible losses if it means accomplishing our mission. Other species try to minimize casualties and preserve their forces. But if you lose too many people, you cannot fight anymore. True, Patricia said. But if we do not fight hard enough, we lose anyway. Sometimes the choice is between losing some people or losing everyone. Veltar was quiet for a long moment. Its lights flickered in patterns that the humans had learned. Meant deep thought. This is the difference between us. You can make choices that we cannot even imagine. You can decide that some lives matter more than others. It is not that simple, Patricia said gently. We do not like making those choices. They hurt us too. But we can make them when we have to. Over the following weeks, Earth transformed into a massive military production center. Factories that had made cars started making alien weapons. Shipyards that built ocean vessels began constructing spaceships. Every nation contributed their best soldiers and scientists. The aliens helped as much as they could, but they struggled to understand human military thinking. When human generals talked about flanking maneuvers and strategic retreats, the aliens became confused and upset. You want to run away from the enemy? Veltar asked during one planning session. Sometimes retreating is the smartest thing to do, Mike explained. If the enemy is stronger than you, you fall back and wait for a better opportunity to attack. But the beings you are supposed to protect will be hurt while you wait. Some will die, Mike admitted. But if we attack when we are not ready, we will lose everything. Sometimes you have to let small bad things happen to prevent big bad things. Veltar's lights went dim. How do you live with such choices? Mike was quiet for a moment. It is not easy. But someone has to make the hard decisions. If we do not, everyone dies. As the human fleet prepared to launch, Patricia realized something important. The aliens had not just asked humans to fight for them. They had asked humans to teach the galaxy how to survive in a dangerous universe. The peaceful species of the Confederation were going to have to learn that sometimes violence was the only way to protect innocent lives. They were going to have to become a little bit more like humans if they wanted to live. Patricia looked at Veltar, who was watching human soldiers load weapons onto alien ships. The crystal being looked sad but determined. Are you ready for this? Patricia asked. No, Veltar replied honestly. But we have no choice. The harvesters will not stop until everything is dead. If becoming more like humans is the price of survival, then we will pay it. The first human battle fleet launched 3 days later, heading toward harvester territory. The galaxy was about to learn what Deathworlders could do when they fought for something bigger than themselves. Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Liberty, watching the centric system through the main viewer. 3 days ago, this had been the home of the Velquan people, Veltar species. Now it was under attack by thousands of harvester machines. Admiral, we are receiving a distress signal from the planet's surface, reported Communications Officer Lisa Warren. The Velquan are trapped in their capital city. The harvesters will reach them in 6 hours. Jake looked at the tactical display. His human fleet had 50 ships. The harvesters had at least 200 of their giant mechanical spiders, plus thousands of smaller drones. The smart thing to do would be to retreat and wait for reinforcements, but 6 hours meant millions of innocent aliens would die. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison, Jake said over the com system. We are going in. Remember your training. The harvesters expect us to fight like other species have fought. We are going to show them something different. Commander Tony Garcia piloted his fighter squadron toward the largest harvester ship. His wingman, Lieutenant Susan Chun, flew beside him. They had trained for months to use human tactics with alien technology. Phoenix Squadron, begin attack run, Tony ordered. Remember, we hit fast and run faster. Do not try to destroy them. Just make them angry. The human fighters dove toward the harvester ships, firing their energy weapons. The shots barely scratched the enemy's armor, but that was not the point. The harvesters turned to pursue the fighters, just like Tony hoped they would. They are following us, Susan reported, leading them away from the planet. On the Liberties bridge, Jake watched his plan unfold. Other species had always tried to protect their ships and minimize casualties. Humans were different. They used their own people as bait. Major Davis, are your Marines ready? Jake asked. Major Kevin Davis commanded 2,000 human soldiers packed into transport ships. Ready, sir? The aliens think we are crazy for trying. A ground assault. Let them think that sometimes crazy works. The transport ships flew toward the planet while the harvesters were distracted by the fighters. It was a desperate plan. If the enemy noticed the transports too soon, the Marines would be destroyed before they could land. Dr. Amy Foster was monitoring harvester communications from the Liberty Science Station. Admiral, they are trying to understand our tactics. I can see them analyzing our attack patterns. How long before they figure us out? Unknown. They have never fought anyone who used their own forces as decoys before. It is confusing them. Meanwhile, Tony's fighter squadron was leading the harvesters on a wild chase through the asteroid field around Centrix. The enemy ships were faster and stronger, but they flew in predictable patterns. Human pilots, trained on Earth's dangerous skies, could fly in ways that made no sense. Chun, pull up hard and roll left, Tony ordered. That will put us right in front of their guns, Susan replied. Trust me. Susan followed orders, even though it looked like suicide. The harvester ship fired where it expected her to be, but she was somewhere else entirely. The shot missed, and Susan was able to get behind the enemy for a clean attack. How did you know that would work? She asked. I did not, Tony admitted. But sometimes you have to do something stupid to win. On the planet's surface, Major Davis and his Marines were fighting a different kind of battle. The harvesters had sent thousands of smaller machines to hunt down the remaining Belquan civilians. The spider-like drones were efficient killers, but they had never fought humans before. Remember, these things think logically. Davis told his troops over the radio. They expect us to take cover and fight defensively. So we are going to charge them instead. Private Bob Turner thought his commander had lost his mind. Sir, that sounds like suicide. Maybe, but it might work. These machines are not programmed to deal with enemies who act irrationally. The Marines charged across open ground toward those harvester drones. It should have been a massacre. The enemy machines had superior weapons and armor, but they hesitated. For crucial seconds, trying to understand why the humans were doing something so tactically stupid. Those seconds were enough. The Marines reached the drones and began fighting at close range with plasma grenades and energy rifles. The harvester machines were designed for long-range combat. They were not prepared for humans who fought like angry animals. It is working, Davis reported to Admiral Morrison. The drones are retreating. They cannot process our aggressive tactics. Back in space, the battle was getting desperate. Tony's fighter squadron had been reduced to half strength. The harvesters were learning from each engagement, adapting their responses to human tactics. Admiral, we cannot keep this up much longer, Tony reported. His ship had taken heavy damage and was barely flying. Jake looked at the tactical display. His fleet was losing, but they had bought precious time. The Marines had evacuated most of the Velquan civilians to underground shelters. Now came the hardest part of the plan. All ships, prepare for final assault, Jake ordered. We are going to ram the Harvester command ship. The bridge crew stared at him. Captain Rachel Thompson, his second in command, spoke up. Sir, that will destroy us too. I know. But Dr. Foster's analysis shows that destroying their command ship will disrupt their network for several hours. Long enough for the civilians to escape and for reinforcements to arrive. Dr. Foster looked up from her instruments. Admiral, I am reading massive harvester reinforcements approaching. hundreds more ships. If we do not stop their current fleet now, the entire system will be lost. Jake made the hardest decision of his life. All ships, this is Morrison. We came here to save innocent lives. We cannot do that by running away. Prepare for ramming speed. One by one, the human ships acknowledged the order. These were men and women who had families back on Earth. They had dreams and hopes for the future. But they also understood what it meant to be the galaxy's protectors. The UES, Liberty accelerated toward the massive Harvester command ship. The enemy vessel was 10 times larger than Jake's flagship, covered in weapons and armor. But it was not prepared for a deliberate collision. "Sir, the other ships are following us," Rachel reported. "The entire fleet is going to ram." Jake watched his brave crews make the ultimate sacrifice. Captain Dan Kelly's ship struck first, punching through the Harvester's defenses. Major Linda Adams followed, her transport ship loaded with explosives. One by one, the human vessels crashed into the enemy command ship. The Liberty was the last to hit. As his ship broke apart around him, Jake saw the Harvester vessel explode in a brilliant flash. The enemy network went silent. On the planet's surface, Major Davis watched the mechanical drones suddenly stop moving. Without commands from their leaders, the simple machines did not know what to do. "This is Davis to any surviving fleet units," he called over the radio. "The Harvesters have stopped. Repeat, the enemy is inactive." A weak signal came back. "This is Lieutenant Chun in Fighter 7. I count 12 human ships still operational. The rest..." Her voice trailed off. Davis understood. Most of the fleet was gone. Thousands of humans had died in the battle. But they had done something no other species had managed. They had stopped a Harvester attack. 3 days later, Confederation reinforcements arrived to find the centric system secure. The surviving Velquan civilians were safe in their shelters. The Harvester fleet was destroyed or retreating. Veltar met with the human survivors in the ruins of the capital city. The crystal aliens' lights were dim with sadness. "Your people saved mine," Veltar said to Major Davis. "But the cost was so high. How do you bear losing so many friends?" Davis looked up at the sky where the battle had taken place. "We bear it because they died for something important. They died so innocent people could live. That means something. I am beginning to understand why the galaxy needs Deathworlders." Veltar said quietly, "You can do what we cannot. You can sacrifice some to save many." "It is not easy," Davis replied. "But someone has to make the hard choices. Someone has to be willing to pay the price." The Battle of Centrix became famous throughout the galaxy. For the first time, a species had defeated the Harvesters in direct combat. But the victory came with a terrible cost that only humans seemed able to pay. As word spread through the Confederation, other species began to understand what it meant to have the violent Deathworlders as protectors. They were grateful to be saved, but they were also frightened by the humans' willingness to die for strangers. The galaxy was learning that survival sometimes required monsters. And humanity was learning that being the galaxy's monsters was the loneliest job in the universe. 6 months after the Battle of Centrix, Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the command center of the largest space station ever built. The Confederation had constructed it at the edge of Harvester territory, and humans had turned it into a fortress. Jake was not the same man who had first received the alien distress call. His hair had gone gray, and his eyes carried the weight of every decision that had cost human lives. But he was still humanity's best hope for ending the Harvester threat. "Admiral, long-range sensors are picking up massive Harvester activity," reported Dr. Kevin Scott, the station's science officer. "It looks like they are building something huge in their core systems." Jake studied the sensor data. The readings showed a structure the size of a small moon, surrounded by thousands of Harvester ships. What do you think it is? Based on energy patterns and construction materials, I believe it is a galaxy killer, Dr. Scott said quietly. A device designed to consume entire star systems simultaneously. If they complete it, they could destroy the Confederation in weeks, instead of years. Jake felt cold. The Harvesters had learned from their defeats. Instead of attacking one world at a time, they were preparing to destroy everything at once. How long before it is operational? 3 weeks, maybe less. Jake called. An emergency meeting with all the human commanders and alien representatives. The situation was desperate. Earth had sent every available ship and soldier, but it still might not be enough. Captain Dan Kelly, one of the few survivors from Centrix, looked exhausted. Admiral, we have lost 60% of our original fleet. Morale is dropping. The troops are starting to wonder if this war can be won. It can be won, Jake said firmly, but not the way we have been fighting. Dr. Scott, explain your plan? Dr. Scott activated a holographic display showing the Harvester core systems. The Galaxy Killer device is connected to the Harvester collective consciousness. If we can introduce a virus into their network, it will spread to every machine instantly. Veltars. Crystal form flickered with concern. What kind of virus? A logic bomb, Dr. Scott explained. Something that will cause their shared intelligence to crash and reboot. During that time, they will be vulnerable. How do we deliver this virus? Asked Colonel Bob Turner, who now commanded the Marine Ground Forces. Dr. Scott pointed to the center of the display. Someone has to fly directly into the heart of their network and upload it manually. It is a suicide mission. The pilot will not survive. The room was quiet. Everyone understood what this meant. Someone would have to die to save the galaxy. I will do it, Jake said without hesitation. Sir, we need you to command the fleet, protested Captain Kelly. The fleet can function without me, but this mission requires someone who understands the stakes completely. Jake looked around the room, at his officers. Besides, I am the one who got us into this war. It is my responsibility to finish it. Major Linda Adams, who had survived Centrix by luck and skill, stepped forward. Admiral, with respect, you are too important to lose. Let me take the mission. No, Jake said gently. Linda, you have a family back on Earth, a husband and 2 children who need their mother to come home. And you do not have people who care about you? Jake smiled sadly. I do, but my job is to protect the galaxy. Sometimes that means making the ultimate sacrifice. Veltar approached Jake with slow musical steps. Admiral Morrison, we never asked you to die for us. We only asked for help. You did not ask, Jake agreed. But this is what help looks like when the stakes are this high. Someone has to pay the price, and it might as well be me. Dr. Scott continued with the technical details. The virus will take approximately 10 minutes to upload and spread through their network. During that time, every harvester in the galaxy will be paralyzed. Our fleet will have one chance to destroy the Galaxy Killer device and as many harvester ships as possible. What happens after the virus runs its course? Asked Captain Kelly. The surviving harvesters will reboot, but they will have lost their collective memory. They will revert to basic programming, which makes them much easier to defeat. Jake nodded. How long do we have to prepare? 12 hours, Dr. Scott replied. After that, the Galaxy Killer will be online. The next few hours were the busiest of Jake's life. He recorded messages for his family and friends back on Earth. He wrote reports detailing everything humans had learned about fighting the harvesters. He wanted to make sure future generations would know how to protect themselves. Captain Rachel Thompson, now commanding her own ship, visited Jake before the mission. Sir, it has been an honor serving under you. The honor was mine, Rachel. You and the others taught me what it means to be human. We are not the galaxy's monsters. We are its guardians. As Jake prepared his ship for the final mission, he thought about how much had changed since that first alien distress call. Humans had proven they could work with peaceful species. They had shown that violence could be used to protect the innocent. Most importantly, they had taught the galaxy that some things were worth dying for. The mission began at dawn, ship time. Jake's modified fighter carried the virus in a specially shielded computer core. Around him flew the remaining human fleet, ready to exploit the opening he would create. All ships, this is Admiral Morrison, Jake said over the comm. Today, we end this war. Today, we prove that Deathworlders fight not because we love violence, but because we love life. The Harvester core systems were a nightmare of twisted metal and mechanical horrors. Thousands of enemy ships moved in perfect formation, their collective intelligence coordinating every action. At the center of it all, the Galaxy Killer device pulsed with stolen energy from 100 dead worlds. Jake's fighters slipped through the Harvester, defenses using every trick human pilots had learned. He dodged energy beams that could vaporize mountains. He flew through explosions that would have destroyed larger ships. His hands shook, but his course remained steady. Admiral, you are approaching the upload point, Dr. Scott reported from the fleet. Remember, you need 10 minutes for the virus to spread. Understood, Jake replied. He could see the Harvester command nexus ahead, a massive structure that looked like a mechanical brain. Beginning upload now. Jake connected his ship's computer to the Harvester network. Immediately, alarms began screaming as the enemy detected the intrusion. Hundreds of Harvester drones swarmed toward his position. Upload at 20%, Jake reported, firing his weapons at the approaching enemies. Come on, work faster. The virus crept through the Harvester network like a digital poison. Jake watched the progress bar crawl upward while energy beams exploded around his ship. His shields were failing, his weapons were overheating, but he held his position. 50% complete, he said, his voice calm despite the chaos around. Fleet, prepare for your attack run. A massive Harvester ship arrived and began pounding Jake's fighter with everything it had. His ship's hull cracked and atmosphere began leaking out. But Jake did not move. He could not move. Not until the mission was complete. 75%, he reported. Almost there. Captain Kelly's voice came over the comm, tight with emotion. Sir, we are ready to attack. Just give us the word. Not yet, Jake said. His ship was falling apart around him, but the upload was still running. Wait for my signal. At 90%, Jake's life support failed. At 95%, his engines died. At 99%, a Harvester beam punched through his ship's core. Upload complete, Jake whispered with his last breath. All ships, attack now. Across the galaxy, every Harvester machine suddenly stopped moving. The collective intelligence that had made them unstoppable crashed as the virus spread through their network. For 10 precious minutes, the mechanical killers were nothing but floating metal. The human fleet struck with everything they had. Years of anger and grief poured out in torrents of energy fire. The Galaxy Killer device exploded in a flash that could be seen from light years away. Thousands of Harvester ships were destroyed before they could recover. When the virus finally ran its course, only scattered groups of Harvesters remained. Without their collective intelligence, they were confused and ineffective. The remaining human forces hunted them down over the following months, until the last Harvester was nothing but scrap metal floating in space. The war was over, but the cost had been enormous. Nearly half of all human military forces had been lost. Entire families had given their lives to protect aliens they had never met. In the aftermath, the Galactic Confederation held a ceremony to honor the human sacrifice. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered to pay their respects to the Deathworlders, who had saved them all. Beltar spoke for the entire galaxy. We called you monsters because we were afraid of your capacity for violence. We did not. Understand that the same strength that makes you dangerous also makes you capable of heroism. You fought not because you enjoyed killing, but because you could not bear to watch innocents die. Dr. Lisa Chung, now elderly, and serving as Earth's ambassador to the Confederation, accepted the honors on behalf of humanity. We did what we had to do, but we hope the galaxy has learned something from this war. Peace is not the natural state of the universe. It must be defended by those willing to fight for it. No, L.